And there she goes.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you may be in the world. And welcome to today's conversation. Yes, we do have a little bit of humour about these things. We were talking about whatever happens if somebody finds themselves getting kicked out of the room just before we came on air, and this is what's happened. So I'm sure Enolia will be back with us very promptly. So welcome to today's programme. We might just reintroduce it, but hey ho. And anyway, we are just delighted. We'll have Enolia back shortly. We're delighted to welcome Kadee Hollis to the programme today. Hello, Kadee.
Hi.
Kadee is a dear, 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 dear friend of mine. Beautiful heart, a beautiful light, an actress, a writer, a poet, and she is a personal trainer, and she just brings so much depth and so much richness into who she is and everything that she does, which is why I'm so, so excited to have you on here. And
thank you.
When we invite our guests and they are able to pick their subjects of what they really want to express and talk about, when she selected defining your sovereign self, that is a subject so near and so dear to my heart that it was just like, yes, everything's aligning so beautifully. So I'm going to ask you just to share the poem one more time so I have the opportunity to hear it.
Of course, I would love to. And thank you for that beautiful introduction, Enolia. Okay, so this is called Serpent Power, Enolia.
Mm-hmm.
The dormant serpent must shed fanciful, weathered skin before she wakes. Her natural beauty will awaken you. Unravel her. Gift her with the space permeating through your body. She moves earnestly up the spine, breaking your bones, exposing the cracks. A revelation of glorious light will shine out. Yet you must call to awaken her from this long slumber. Open your eyes to open hers. You know what scares you. Dare to go there. Dare to love the space in between those divine cracks. Melt into your soul. You belong there, nowhere else.
Oh my God, that's so beautiful. And the reason that I really wanted to embrace it and hear it is because I make that akin to life when listening to it. And when you talk about the serpent shedding their skin, to me, it's like shedding your past. Shedding that which you've already gone through. And allowing the vulnerabilities and the cracks and everything to show. When we talk about the name of the show, defining your sovereign self, and those of you who are comfortable with understanding what sovereign is having reign over or domain over. And many of us don't feel like we have reign or domain over ourselves for a period of time in our lives. It's a becoming, it's an awakening, like akin to your poem. And so I would love to understand, what was it that you may feel needed to be shedded within or shedded out externally before you could get to that deep core within?
It's a great question. For me, defining my sovereign self is about engaging and showing up in the world exactly as my soul is asking to be shown. And I think for a very long time, I had a lot of fear around that. I was also very unclear about what my values were and where my soul actually needed to be in alignment. So coming to terms with who I am and releasing the layers that I had built that weren't necessarily in alignment with who my soul is and who I really am and my true north, that's me. Peeling the layers off and just being exactly who I am.
Beautiful. Sara Jane?
I think exactly as Kadee says, it is about letting go of the learned behaviours that just don't serve us any purpose anymore. It's about the reactions we've had to things that have happened to us and realising that those reactions aren't our true self. And those, I think when we realise that a lot of people's reactions are about what they've gone through, what they're going through. And so when they behave in a way, it actually has nothing to do with us. And therefore we can let go. And I suppose it comes down to that word judgment, doesn't it? Which is actually a very destructive word. Because when we go into judgment, we're stepping out of dealing with ourselves and we're trying to tell other people how to put themselves right. I don't give people advice. I make suggestions from what has worked for me. And as human beings, somebody once said to me, "Here, take my advice, I'm not using it." And that really resonated with me. I'm not prepared to listen to my own thoughts, but you can. I'm not prepared to work on my own life and become aware of who I truly am. And it's unlearning what we've learned, only in respect of letting go of the things that aren't true to who we are, and not being afraid to be ourselves. We have to start with honesty with ourselves. Be honest with yourself. Does it feel right? Does it feel wrong?
So
it isn't about starting with the world around us. It's about starting absolutely within us.
Yeah, it's that, and I think curiosity, being curious with yourself and others, because that removes the judgment.
It does. It does. And I'm sitting here listening to this and I'm saying, so, okay, this is assuming that we know who we are. This is assuming that we are sure of who we are. But even though we come up with a value system, even though we come up with a belief system that's imposed on us because of where we were born, who we were born with, and relative to, who we grew up with, okay? Sometimes you actually get to a point where you don't know that you're in a dormant sleep. You don't know that you're not in your true north. You're thinking, okay, I'm surviving through life. I'm making it through life. I guess this is it. So in each one of us, there comes to a point in a precipice where we realize, oh my God, I'm living a life and this isn't me.
Mm-hmm.
And when that happens, you're like, what the heck was I doing? Was I walking through life asleep? For me, that time came when I was in corporate and I'm going through the corporate ladder and, I'm fast tracking and everything looks good. And then I came to a situation where I really wanted to be a part of management. I was turned down for something. And then I really looked at what it was that I wanted. And I go, oh my God, I'm aspiring to be with people I don't even like. And that was my wake up call. That was like, oh, what the heck am I doing? Look, what am I doing? How am I living my life? What is it that I really want? And that's the moment where you know that something has to change and you know something has to be shed. So when did those moments come? At a time in your life. sooner or later. For me, it actually came later in life because I was sold the whole, white picket fence, get married, have children. These are the things that you're supposed to do step by step by step by step by step.
Mm.
And be happy in that life. And that's the way life is supposed to be lived. Until I realized, and it took me later in life to realize that that wasn't my calling. So I kind of tossed that one out there. So Kadee, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, Enolia, you know quite a bit about my past, but Sara Jane, you probably don't. For me, it definitely was. I spent a lot of time overseas. I was away for about a year and a half, I think it would have been. And I lived with my partner and a couple of other people. And, I didn't have any worries in terms of money, safety in terms of I knew I was going to be looked after and taken care of, but I was deeply unhappy. The people that I was surrounding myself with were so detrimental to my soul, but I felt very stuck. And it's funny, I look back on it now and I actually don't think I understood that I could even get out of it. I felt trapped and I was so unhappy, but couldn't realize that it was my environment that was making me unhappy. It was the fact that I had no control of my own life, no control of my own decisions, no control of my own money. Everybody else had control of me. So I became a very, very unhappy woman. And it took some things that were very sad to happen. And I left. And that's when I began to shed all of these layers that I had placed on top of my heart and on my soul. And I began the healing process of coming back to who I am. But it was, I don't think it has to always come down to this big, awful thing. People shouldn't have to have this awful thing happen to them to then suddenly be awakened. And I suppose that's what I would love people to get out of this, is you don't have to hit the rockiest bottom ever to enlighten yourself and to become a little bit happier and a little bit more settled in who you are.
100% agree. 100% agree. I think that's why we do this. This is why these programs are shared, with the hope that we will touch a life, that people who are in that space that you were in Enolia. And it's just like, and you were in, and it's just like, do I need that wake-up call? I am going to say good morning to Guy and to Luke, because it's morning here, folks, in the UK. I know it's evening in Australia for Kadee. Good morning, Guy and Luke. Yes, lovely to have you with us. And please, guys, if you have got any comments, anything you would like to say, please do join in with this conversation in the chat. Happy to have you do that. And by the way, Luke says beautiful poem, Kadee. So going back to what we said, yes, I was in a marriage I shouldn't have been in, but I'd spent nearly 40 years being a people pleaser. I was never in control. Well, I was in control of my life in respect that it was my choice to be that people pleaser because I hoped people would like me, even if it was only temporary, because I was so insecure. And it was that wake-up call that came, and yes, it was something pretty horrible, and I've shared that enough times here, but it's just like, I can't do this anymore. I haven't got the energy for this anymore. So in my own way, like you, Kadee, and like you, Enolia, it took a wake-up call. And if these programs can be that wake-up for people, you can do it. And I know I've shared this before, and I will continue to share it. It was that light bulb moment of, why am I worrying about what other people think about me when they're not? They just aren't, because they've got enough going on in their own lives. Let them deal with their life. It is time for you to deal with your life. And this was for me. It was time. And it was just like, I can take control. I just don't know where the thought came from. It did. And so what I am saying to each and every one of you out there now, listening live or the recording, you have the right to the control of your own life. You do not have to be controlled by others. If you choose to take their guidance, by all means, that is your choice. If you choose not to, like if you choose not to take the guidance I'm giving you right now, that is your choice. That is your sovereign right to listen or not to listen.
And I want to play with words right now, too, because we're using the term control and we're using the term choice. And I'm going to actually challenge the word control, because the only thing that we truly control are the decisions that we make and how we choose to show up. Other than that, you really don't have any control over anything. So when I sit back and I think about the fact that I was unhappy and I had this soul's calling, and I just want to clarify that I was unhappy with where I was working. I was unhappy with the environment I chose to go to every single morning and show up at. I found out when I really sat back and looked at my life, where I was showing up, I really wasn't showing up. I was present, but I wasn't showing up. I was there, but I wasn't happy. I was doing what it took to do, but I wasn't satisfied. And what I did was that I was ignoring my soul's calling. My soul was longing for something else. And I constantly ignored it. And I was just like, but I got to do this. And I had every justification. We as human beings come up with every justification. I can't change. I can't make this decision. I don't know how. I don't know where. I don't know why. I don't know who. And we don't necessarily ask for help, because I remember sitting there going, I feel so trapped, just like you said. And I kept ignoring my soul's calling, my soul's calling. But when I realized that I was truly ignoring my soul's calling, and I had to stop it, I had to just stop. I had to turn inward and really look at my life and go, okay, no excuses. How am I going to change this? And I make it akin to, for me, life is nothing but decisions. And once I was at this precipice of the crossroads and decided that I'm going to make a different decision other than the decision that supports my situation never changing, that opened up a whole new opportunity that spiraled a different direction. And it didn't mean it was easy. It didn't mean that, I didn't still have to rise even stronger to the occasion of continuing to make those different decisions. But that it was making the strength, the inner strength that I had to find was the inner strength of making a different decision. And then when I made that different decision, then the circumstances didn't align the same way that they always had when I made the same decision. And then when the circumstances finally didn't align to the status quo, then I could find a new path out of the circumstance. But it started, for me, the core inner strength to figure it out, to get through and move past the story of where I was stuck, was to make a different decision. What was it for you?
Sarah Jane, you can go first.
Oh, all right. Okay, fine. No, that's fine. I'm going to start with saying that Guy's put a couple of comments up.
Okay.
Yes, it's your me time. It is time. It's absolutely time for us to be coming from our hearts. Yes, be all for one and one for all. But the truth is, when we are true to ourselves, we are bringing the greatest benefit to everybody else. We cannot bring real love to others until we can love ourselves.
No.
It has to be, and yes, but also be kind to yourself. It's not being selfish, it's about being selfless. And so many people will say, you're being selfish, you're being selfish. No, we're not. Because when we are truest to ourselves, we are truest to everybody around us. I've said this before, I will say it again. When you are constantly doing for others, you are holding two people back. Yourself and the individual, you are not allowing to stand on their own 2 feet and grow into their own lives.
Mm.
So be true to you. That love for yourself, that caring, that giving to self fills your pot so that you have the energy to truly support people in the right way and not in the wrong way. And I think that was the greatest learning from being a people pleaser. I was holding everybody back by being a people pleaser. Self-preservation, says Luke. It does have to be about self-preservation. 100% about self-preservation. So it is about being true to yourself.
And I'm just going to chime in on that too, which is one of the parts that helped me rise to the occasion was I had to answer the hardest question to myself was, how do I lie to myself?
Mm.
How do I lie to myself? How do I convince myself otherwise that, oh, it's okay, I can get through this a little bit longer. Oh, it's okay. I lied to myself. And I think that the inner strength that I found to be able to define my sovereign self was to stop lying to myself and to stop telling myself a story that wasn't true. It wasn't about sourcing from somebody else. It started with me.
Mm.
I was lying to me, and then I was convincing myself that this was okay, and it just wasn't anymore. Of how I wanted my life to grow and expand, and I couldn't. I was contracting more and more and more, and I was using every excuse in the book. So Sara Jane, I chime in with you so strongly, which is, it starts with me, self-love. And, you know, there are people that in my life I love, my family and everything else, but it had to start with me. How could I work with them and show up for them when I'm lying to me?
Mm.
And so a lot of times, and this is really important because a lot of times we put everybody else in front of ourselves. Well, I can't, impact my kids. Well, I can't impact my partner. Well, I can't this, I can't that. My mother, my father, my sister, my brother, blah, 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 blah. But like you said, I'm not serving anyone if I can't be honest with myself. So I'm sorry. Kids got to deal with it. Get angry. I don't care. Mom, I love you, but doesn't work for me. Partner, I love you, but if you can't deal with this, you have a choice too. You can choose to stay or not. I got to deal with me first.
Mm.
And you're so right. Kadee?
I was just going to say it's very interesting because my experience was sort of different in the sense that, I do believe, yes, it starts with me, but I was so far gone, I didn't know who I was anymore. So I had to really realign myself with some core values that could bring me and rein me back into myself, especially in those first few months when I was redefining who I was and my relationship with myself. Having those core values allowed me to go, okay, I can make decisions because it aligns with all three of those and I can move forward. Yes, move through that door. No, close that door. Because I didn't know how to just, I'll do it for myself because I didn't know what I needed.
Mm.
Uh,
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think we've got to realise is when things happen very young in your life, as they did with me, I actually don't feel that obviously as of when I was a very tiny baby and I still had my connection to my soul, because I do feel that we maintain that connection, possibly till we learn to speak. Then obviously the mind really starts kicking in and what's going on around us starts to kick in. But I don't believe I ever knew who I was in nearly 40 years. Because what happened to me happened so young. And I heard people say, I know who I am and I like who I am. And I couldn't understand that. I really could not understand that comment. But I would never look back at my life and think, I wish that hadn't happened. I wish that hadn't happened. I believe our soul has made choices of experiences that support us with our growth and becoming the person we are today, the person that is here sharing. Because our experiences, I don't believe it's about learning. We know everything. From a soul perspective, we know everything. It is about growing into the person we choose to become. And we have made choices. Yes, this resonates. No, this doesn't resonate. This feels good. People aren't sure about the word resonate. It feels good. This doesn't feel right for me. Go with what is comfortable. Not the comfort zone. The comfort zone, nobody grows in their comfort zone. But what feels comfortable in who you are. This is acceptable to me. This is not acceptable to me. And yes, as Luke said, it's self-preservation. If it doesn't feel comfortable to you, it is not right for you. Mind you, there are some things that may feel a little uncomfortable, but you get that feeling, do you know what? This is how I step out of my comfort zone. This is how I can truly grow into me. So again, as Enolia said earlier about that word control, it is understanding the difference in the meaning of the words. A little bit of discomfort can be really good for you.
Exactly.
But if it's painful discomfort, maybe not.
You know, it's interesting because both of you are coming from the perspectives of the fact that you might have felt lost. And I actually came from the perspective when I looked in the mirror, I did not like what I saw. And, you know, I share this because there are so many of us who some of us may be lost, but some of us just don't like who we are and we don't know how to change it. And I think that part of defining your sovereign self is accepting the fact that, okay, I don't like this aspect of who I am and where it's going. What do I do about it? And for me, it was about saying, okay, well, this aspect doesn't have to lead my life. Why am I letting the person that's showing up lead my life when I don't like where it's leading me? We all have many aspects to our personality. We all have many faces and facets to ourselves. And, you know, I subscribe to our audience who's listening. You get to choose what facet leads you through life. And I actually had to make a conscious decision to say that the woman who was leading that was, you know, didn't like herself, was angry a lot, was self-destructive in a lot of ways, was not confident in some of the decisions that she made, wasn't the best version of me to be leading my life. So it doesn't have to. Where's the more confident person in me? Where's the more secure person in me? Where's the person that's not jealous, couldn't care less about that, you know, certain aspects of things? You know, where's the person that I like because she's in there? She's a part of me. Just as much as the part of me that I don't like is a part of me. You can't cut it off. You can't like chop off your arm and just say, that doesn't belong to me. No, you can accept the totality of yourself. But you can choose what aspect leads in your life. And I had to make a conscious choice that when that woman showed up, and I knew her characteristics because she was angry, she was bitchy, she didn't make good decisions. She probably would tell you to kiss her butt before, you know, trying to rectify the relationship, right? So I knew when she showed up, and I was just like, no, you don't serve me. The other aspect of me, the other facet of me has to lead my life, and I choose her from this point on to satisfy that soul's calling that says something's got to change. So that was the core strength that I pulled off of. And that was how I dug through the mire of the story to change it and to shed it so that it no longer belonged to me in the respect of leading my life. So I could release it. So when we look at our lives, what defined sovereignty for you?
Kadee.
I think what defined sovereignty for me was every day showing up and going back to my values and making the choices that felt right. And not what was easy, but what was right. I think for a long time, it was always for me what was easy. And going back to my values and saying, no. And again, it's like that person doesn't need to lead. It doesn't need to be, that's an experience and that might be a part of me, but I can say no and I can choose to move in a different direction. So I think for me, it's just every day showing up for what my soul needs, for who I am and for who I want to be and how I want to show up in the world and who I want to be for other people as well. And the story that I want to tell and the mark that I want to leave on this world. I want it to be a positive one.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Sara Jane?
Listening to yourself. Truly listen to yourself. What feels right for you? Regardless of the conversations, etc. going on around you. Trusting yourself. And as Guy's put it, moving on to a better existence without conscience. Not going into, oh, but if I do this, I'm feeling guilty about it. Do it because it is right for you. Be it because it is right for you. And having the respect to listen to others. If your answer is no to them, be honest, it's no. If your answer's yes, be honest and say yes. If you're one of these people that jumps in, as I still do occasionally, and say yes to something and think, oh, why did I do that? Or I make a suggestion and I think, oh, why did I do that? Then you've either got to be really honest very quickly and say, absolutely sorry, I really shouldn't have said that. Or you have to honour it. But be honest with yourself, be honest with others. Listen to yourself, listen to others. If you make suggestions or give thoughts to others, listen to their reply. It's really important to do that. Because as much as we ask people to respect what we feel is right for us, listen and have that respect for what they feel is right for them, for their reasons. Sovereignty of self is also, for me, about honouring the sovereignty for others, their choices, whatever they may be. And I'm going to give the simplistic of examples here. A very special friend of mine had a 70th birthday last week, bless him, and he'd made some decisions and choices about things that he would like to do. And I said, okay, on your birthday, you know, because we aren't going out to restaurants and things and having meals out. But we will occasionally go to the chip shop. And it's very rare that we'll go to the chip shop, but it just means we haven't got to cook. And so I said to him, what would you like on your birthday? Something that's happening in the morning that was out of our control to a degree. And so I said, shall I go to the chip shop once it's finished? And he turned around and said, actually, I'm teaching karate in the evening. That will sit heavy on my stomach. I listened and I said, okay, shall we do it on a different day then? So we spread things that we did for his birthday. But it was listening. Although it was a suggestion, it was his choice as to when. It wasn't my choice. It's about listening to everything that is going on with us.
And we have the opportunity to redefine how we set forward our path and stand in authenticity. And that part of us that finds our voice, that basically says, I've made different decisions, I'm going to create a new path. And so when I did that, it was like the time that I finally listened to my soul's calling, and I finally shedded a bunch of stuff. But it was work to stand in my new authenticity. It was work to be able to say, this is my truth. I don't care if you like it or not. You know, this is how I'm going to show up. So a simplistic question is, what would you share with others in terms of learning how to stand in your own authenticity and stating your truth and having your voice heard?
I feel like I've spoken about this a lot already, but I'll say it anyway. For me, it's simple. I have three core values that I've thought about that resonate with exactly who I am. So when I am feeling like I'm stepping out of my integrity or out of alignment with my soul, I go back to these three core values. And I think 3 is a good number because if you have too many, it gets a bit confusing. But 3 is good for me, and I can look and go, great, that decision or that thing that person is asking me to do, if it fits here with in alignment with my values, I know that I am acting out of a place of integrity in my soul. So for me, that's the simplest way, like putting some words on it that help define your soul. That's the best way for me to move forward in the world and step in the right direction for me.
Beautiful.
It's just about, for me, honour and respect everything that you've gone through in life. It is really important to view our experiences as a gift. A beautiful way of saying, I know that's not me, and I know that is me. We can learn as much from what isn't us as from what is us. Many years ago, I worked for a manager that, oh boy, the way he was with his staff. I'm not going to say treated his staff, it's the way he was with his staff. And I was 19, 20 when this happened. And I remember thinking, thank you, because you've taught me how not to be. That we can grow so much, and it is respecting and loving every little bit of us, of being aware of, oh no, that bit of me is I'm not comfortable with, but it is a bit of me that is there for a reason. And loving ourselves. And maybe that aspect of you that is showing up is because it would like to be healed. We never know what's coming up in our life. The layers of the onion. And the onion's brilliant because, okay, if you have to cut an onion, it can definitely make you cry. And if something makes you cry, be grateful for the fact that I see tears as washing the windows to our soul, of clearing the debris. Loving ourselves is the most important thing we can do. Now, I haven't read this already. It's just popped up from Guy. If it floats your boat, go with it. But if it doesn't, don't roll with it to keep someone happy. Being true to yourself is the most important factor. And I'd actually stress the is rather than the. Thanks, Guy. Others don't like it, that's their problem. 100% agree.
For
And you spoke about. Sorry, Enolia.
Go ahead, Kadee.
You spoke, and we've spoken about this a little bit the other day, Sara Jane, but with our experiences, we've brought that word up quite a few times. Also recognizing that our experience, if it's not quite a nice experience, we don't necessarily have to align ourselves with it. Yes, it may become a part of our experience and our wisdom, but we don't have to be that story. That's not who we are. It's just an experience that we've had.
Yeah. For me, to find my sovereign self was to first take pause and to actually be present to understand what my soul was longing for. And I think so many times we as beings don't pause enough to understand. Like, people would say, what do you want? Well, I want this, 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 and this, but it wasn't what I want. It's what I wanted to do, but it wasn't what I want. What is it that you want? What is it that you want? To take pause and to really look inside yourself. And when I say look inside yourself, our brain, our ego says, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to do this, I want to do that. But your heart's desire, your soul, it's a calling. And you have to rise to the occasion of that, because it's beyond your comfort level. It's beyond the status quo. It's beyond the boundaries that you've set for yourself. And when I finally honored to look at my soul, then I could even set my core values, because I didn't even know what my core values were until I could take a look at that soul's calling to say, okay, if I honor my soul and the love in my heart and the being that I am, then here's the premise by which I work. And if this is the premise by which I work, then I can actually be present for that premise each and every day. And then I can make my decisions alongside and according to that premise. And then I can love who I am and look in the mirror and love what I see. And I can act every day based on the fact that every act that I do, every thought that I have, focuses in on the satisfying of this premise, of the satisfying of my soul. And that if it doesn't resonate with me and I'm tentative or I'm hesitant, then take pause to give myself room to understand that it doesn't resonate with me and to figure out how to say no, because sometimes we don't know how to say no. Or sometimes in the moment when we say no, we realize that we're going to be hurting somebody's feelings so deeply, and that's okay. That's their stuff. It's not my stuff. And if you don't take pause to just allow the room to process what it is each and every day in the decisions. I've actually gotten to the point where I tell people, I'll get back to you. Let me sit with that for a little bit. I have to see if that resonates with me. I can't answer you right now. Oh, it sounds great. It sounds like it was something I really want to do. Let me sit with it a little bit and see if that feels good. If it does still in an hour, then I'll do it. You know, I've actually gotten the point where I take pause. And that's how I am able to maintain my sovereign self, because my habit and my pattern is to make decisions instantaneously, right then, right there, not thinking, not taking in consideration that it really does align, even though I think it does. It's like, oh, it's such a little decision. What difference does that make? It makes all the difference. Because for life is nothing but decisions. And I was rushing through making all of these decisions that weren't making me happy unconsciously. So for me, it's akin to taking your shoes off. And when you take your shoes off, every step that you take, you're conscious of it because your foot can get hurt, right? You're like, oh, that surface is pretty rough, jagged. Let me step lightly. You know, you feel every pain in your foot when your shoes are off. But when your shoes are on, you're not thinking, you're just running. Oh, I'll just run here. Oh, I'll just run there. Oh, it's just okay. It took me 2 or 3 steps out of the way. I can just run right back, because you're not feeling the pain of the decisions. You're not conscious, you know, and I had to learn how to be conscious at every decision I made. So I think that what we all share will assist others out there who are at that precipice of realizing, well, maybe I'm not conscious when I make decisions. Or, you know, maybe I'm making my decisions too wrong. Because if you end up right back at the place you were at and you were like, God, I thought I dealt with this. And you realize you didn't, well, then you're not taking pause and you're not taking your shoes off. You're not conscious in your decision. It's so much a part of our unconscious habitual habit that we're just moving in a direction without thinking. And that for me was the biggest learning that I had to make and adjust in my life to take my life back to a point where my soul was satisfied. My soul was satisfied. My heart was happy, and my ego was in check. You know, at this point, I just leave it open. Thoughts, reactions.
Yeah, that idea of taking space. And I brought it up in my poem, you know, give the snake room, let the snake breathe, give it space that is already permeating in your body. The space is there, but you just have to offer it, you know? So often we just run through our day and we have 25 things we have to do, and you jump in bed at night and you're like, where did the day go? What did I even do? So taking that time to be present and hold space for yourself to make those decisions, even if it's what seem like not very important decisions at the time. What you're going to eat, be present when you're eating, you know, be present with the way that you speak, with how you decide to deliver your words. I totally agree with that. Just taking space to decide how you're going to show up.
Absolutely. Sara Jane?
For anybody listening, we all have different experiences. Life shows up in different ways for us all. Words mean different things for us all. I absolutely hate the word want. Anybody says to me, what do you want? My answer's nothing. Because I was always brought up with I want, don't get. So, but it is about us making our own choices. And if you've listened to our words and something hasn't resonated because of your understanding of that word, It is about also realizing that other people, I hate the word service because I was a waitress and I worked in hotels doing the things for people. I don't see myself as being here to do anything for anybody else. I am, however, here to support others, to find themselves, to connect with themselves, to be true to themselves, to heal themselves, as and when they are ready. I am here to be me. Each and every one of you are here to be you. When we are ourselves and unwrap ourselves from all that stuff we have learned that doesn't resonate with us, we are a beautiful gift to the world. Yes, every single one of us.
Absolutely.
When we are totally true to ourselves and to the soul's purpose and calling of this life, we are a beautiful gift. It doesn't matter whether you are here to do something grand in the great scheme of things, or whether you are here to say beautiful words to a child that supports them to become the truest and most beautiful being that they are here to be. It doesn't matter. You are as great a gift as the next person. When you unwrap all those layers that are not your truest self, when you honor the gifts that your experiences bring to create you as the gift that you truly are.
Thank you so much. That's so beautiful. And I want to add to that, you know, a lot of times many of us will say, and what's my purpose? Why am I here? What am I supposed to be doing? At a minimum, you are to hold your light in the midst of the crazy drama. You are supposed to be that beacon of light in the midst of chaos. At a minimum, hold your light, hold your smile, be that light be the lighthouse in the storm, be the breath of fresh air in the midst of the drama. Be the one that holds the space that says, I'm not going to that lower level energy of arguing, debating, fighting, and everything else. This is all petty, and I just don't have time for this energy. And walk away from it. Be the light in the midst of the storm. Be the breath of fresh air in the midst of the tumultuousness. Be the place that something or someone can go to when it's all crazy out there. If all of us held our light in the midst of the storm, there would be many places to go to enjoy life. Don't be a part of the drama. Don't be a part of the tumultuousness. Don't be a part of the perpetrator that propagates that nasty and negative energy. Be the breath of fresh air.
Beautiful.
So any last words that you want to share with our audience at all, Kadee?
I think just don't be afraid to show up exactly as you are. No matter what the consequences, don't be afraid to show up as exactly who you are.
Beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know whether you are aware, Kadee, and I don't know whether this has been picked up on the camera from the recording, but there is a pulsing light down at the side of you.
Here?
Yeah. Oh, so is there a pulsing light at the side of you?
There is a pulsing light. It's a little candle.
Oh,
It wasn't too distracting.
beautiful.
It's beautiful.
Absolutely beautiful. Enolia, have you got any final words before we can? Although I think Kadee said it perfectly, but
I think she said it perfectly, and I'm going to leave it at that. And I just want to say we're so grateful to have had you on the show. Excited.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your light and your knowledge and your sharing and your presence.
Thank you, Enolia. I just feel so blessed to be on here. You two are such beautiful women, and I'm so blessed and proud to know you both. So thank you for having me on. It's been such a pleasure.
It's been a real pleasure. And Kadee, please share your website. Is there anything you'd like to share at the end? So, and we will put this under the YouTube recording, folks. If you're watching on YouTube, you'll find the information how you can connect with Kadee if you'd like to, and obviously myself and Enolia. So Kadee, please.
Yes, definitely. At the moment, just my Instagram is the best way to contact me, which is just my first name. So Kadee. It's just Kadee. But soon, hopefully, I'll have my website back up and running. But at the moment, yes, just my Instagram.
Brilliant. Brilliant.
Thank you, Sara Jane.
No, thank you. And Guy had to leave a fraction early, but he said, I have so enjoyed listening. I think I meant to you, and has given me a lot of food for thought, because we sure don't know it all, but I'm working on it. And the truth is, we don't know it all, do we? Because our experiences are what we are aware of. And that is what I love about these programs, is because we all share from different experiences and different perspectives. And I hope then that touches lives and supports people, because I believe that's why we all do this. So thank you, folks, for joining us. It's been a real pleasure. Thank you, Kadee and to Enolia. And our next program, today's conversation program, is Wednesday the 22nd of December, and back at PM in the UK rather than AM in the morning for us here in the UK, and because our guest is from America. So we're in the December, we're touching the whole world, which is beautiful. We're being joined by Mahali and Michael, and we're going to be talking about trust your intuition. And we are going to be finishing that program because Enolia, myself, and Mahalia all speak light language. So we will be finishing the program with a short light language message from each of us. So we're going to be trusting our intuition and supporting our viewers. So I hope you will join us for that. In the meantime, folks, thank you to all of us here. Thank you to those of you watching. Thank you to everybody. Take care, be safe, stay well. Love, peace, and light to you all. Namaste.